What's up, everybody? I hope you're doing well. If you've been following my channel for any amount of time, then it's no secret that I am a fan of the Therapist website. It is so effective at delivering information about who we are, what is it that we do, who we serve, and building trust. And it can also be effective in getting people to find us via SEO. I thought for today's purposes, it might be kind of fun to take a walk down memory lane and look at my very first therapist website. When I was making my first website, I did not have the luxury of being able to afford a website designer, so I DIY'd the heck out of that thing, and I thought it might be nice to share it with you. One, to just validate the experience of like making your very first website as a therapist. It is a whole thing. I won't lie. I remember feeling so overwhelmed by it, but also I wanted to make some critiques and kind of show you what I would change now. Knowing what I know now, it feels so important to preface by saying that even this website that I completely DIY'd and I knew nothing about marketing or SEO or anything else, it was very effective for me. It filled my practice. I'm gonna have all kinds of critiques, I'm sure. As I look at this, I might even cringe at some parts of it of like, oh no, that's not correct. But it worked. Just a bit of effort when it comes to your therapist website can make a huge difference. So here we are. First of all, here's 2016 Marie. She's looking real young right there. 2 babies in 8 years. It'll do something to you. Anyway, just off the bat, applying the 5-second rule, which is, can I tell within the first 5 seconds of arriving on this homepage what this website is about? I check some boxes, but I also missed some boxes. Here we can see the name of my business is right at the top, Life Christian Counseling, which the name itself definitely conveys something about what type of website we're on. You can start to see the beginning of a picture of my face. Okay, now let's talk about some of the things that I'm kind of missing the mark on when it comes to the 5-second rule. The initial text on my website, I have a kind of introductory paragraph where I say, hello there, I'm glad you found me. If you're looking support for the areas of faith, identity, or anxiety, you've come to the right place. And then I break down each of those categories of specialty. So I kind of start to do almost a little like introduction to my specialties, but I do it in paragraph format, which isn't what I would recommend for what you'd want to put right here above the fold, meaning the very first thing that you see when you come onto the website. Something to think about when you're creating your website is you want to have some sort of visual right when people first land on the page that say exactly what you're about and start to instill a sense of like, this person might be able to help me. And here I just have a bunch of text. Like you have to read the text to get a picture, and I'd want it to be maybe just like a brief sentence naming what it is that I focus on rather than this like chunk of text. And then in my navigation bar, that text is really tiny and I'm having a bit of trouble seeing it. And then especially once you hover over the text, it grays out to this very kind of gray looking color that is quite difficult to see. So I would want to make that text much more legible by making it bigger and probably have more contrasting colors. Those are little like UX type tidbits, but just kind of basic things like make your website easy to read, easy to see, make it as accessible as possible is just a good tip. So scrolling down, then I have the About Me section and I say a little bit about myself. Okay, I see what I did here. I do not recommend using this approach, especially now. The Google algorithm is smarter now than it was then. But right after I say this thing about, I've been working in private practice since 2012, opened my San Jose location in 2016, I go on to say, I offer counseling services in San Jose and the greater South Bay from an identity-focused framework. So I did a little bit of keyword stuffing here in this first sentence. If you don't know what keyword stuffing is, basically there were certain terms that I wanted my website to show up for in the Google algorithm. So I want people who are looking for a therapist, say in San Jose, to find my website, or a therapist in the South Bay. If they're typing something like that into the Google search query, I want my website to show up. So I started using words like San Jose and South Bay in this section. I think if I had just deleted this section where I talk about my location and I just dove into like, hey, my primary specialties focus on this, 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 and this, and broke that down a little bit more by infusing some of my own story into it or my own passion around it, that would have been quite useful. And then I say, click below to learn more about my story and areas of specialty, or click here to contact me for a free initial consultation or to set up an appointment. Okay, so I did some things right. I made it easy for people to figure out where to go if they wanted to contact me by clicking here. One thing I changed, I said here, click here to contact me for a free initial consultation or to set up an appointment. And that's a bit misleading because I do a free initial consultation with everyone, even if they wanted to go ahead and set up an appointment. So, it's good to be clear about what is the next step if somebody reaches out to contact you, and just name that step. Okay, so we landed on something that I'm a little embarrassed about. This is a good idea. I have this video introducing my practice, and I have it, embedded here in this about section of my homepage. The thing is, I remember this video, and what I remember about it is that it's quite cringy. For the sake of making a point,
Hi there.
let's see.
I'm Dr. Marie Fang, licensed psychologist practicing in San Jose, California.
What is happening here?
My goal is to create a safe and non-judgmental space to help you process
What
and
is that
navigate whatever it
song?
is you might be needing some support with. But in particular, I specialize in the area of identity, which could include any number of things such as immigration history, ethnic or racial identity, gender identity, sexual identity, faith identity, and so much more. I also really enjoy working with anxiety as well as the particular stresses that can come up around working in Silicon Valley. So if you might be interested in learning more, I encourage you to check out my website at www.lifechristiancounseling.net, or you can give me a call at 415-562-6916, and I look forward to hearing from you soon.
Oh, my old logo. Oh my goodness. Wow. Ooh, okay, first of all, that song was way too distracting. That was the wrong song for the context, and the song was too loud. Listen, if you make a video about yourself, just don't even worry about the song. You don't need a song. That was an unfortunate choice that I made. But you know what? It seemed like a good idea, I guess, at the time. If you want to make an intro video like this on your website, I think it is a win, even though now as I watch that video back, it is so cringy for so many reasons. I do think having some of those things, it's more helpful than not. Okay, and then you scroll down and you get to the contact me section where it has, my address at the time and a little map. I did a little bit of keyword stuffing here as well. Right under the map, I said my office is located near the San Jose Whole Foods, behind the Coleman Shopping Center, and not far from the San Jose Airport. I think that was a little bit of a stretch. I was trying to name some very specific local landmarks. You don't need to do that now. Like, you put in your address, Google knows where you're at. I think this was my attempt at keyword stuffing. It says copyright 2018 by Life Christian Counseling, Christian Therapy San Jose, located in San Jose, California. Like, Maria was really trying to get on those SEO skills. Oh yeah, and I did it again here in the footer. I said, offering a safe space for LGBTQ communities, specializing in faith, gender, sexuality, identity, and anxiety. Maybe that worked in 2016. I wouldn't do it like that now. You want your keywords to just sort of organically show up where you would put them on your website. Like, yes, I am offering a safe space for LGBTQ communities. Why don't I have an appropriate space prominently featured on my website for people to read about that? I don't need to tuck it in extra in the footer or anything like that. So let's click around a little bit and see what else is going on. I'm going to click on the About Me page. Okay, again, I think I did some things well, and I had some misses here on my About page. I start off by saying, if you found yourself landing on this page and reading my bio, there's a decent chance you're considering counseling as an option for you. I mean, I think I'm trying to create some sort of connection and empathy. Like, I see you and I hear you, but it's also like, well, yeah, I'm looking for a therapist and I want to learn about you on your About page. You don't need to tell me necessarily that, I'm looking for a therapist. But then I go on to say, you're wondering whether I'm the kind of person who would be able to get you, accept you, and caringly guide you along your journey. I think saying something like that is totally fine. It does start to build trust with somebody. And then I talk about how basically the most important variable when it comes to effective therapy is the relationship between the therapist and the client. I think if you want to say it, it's fine, but it might have been nice if I just started talking more in the about me realm rather than talking about therapy. I could put that maybe somewhere closer towards the end of the about me section. information. And then I decided to take the route of talking about why I pursued a career in therapy, but I didn't get too deep with it. I think I kept my self-disclosures a lot closer to the chest at the time, which was a relic from a lot of my training where we were told to be a blank slate. I very minimally disclosed. I have changed my approach since then. I would have loved to have seen more specifics about, I'm so passionate about making this safe space. It's so important to the work of therapy to be effective. So here are some of the ways that I do things in order to make this a safe space. Fill in actual details with examples of what makes the safe space or what actions I'm doing, things like that. And then I have a paragraph where I kind of lay out some details about who I specifically enjoy working with. I don't necessarily add too much information aside from listing them out. I think it could be really useful in the About Me section in particular to create some personal tie to, like, I'm really passionate about working with folks who are going through immigration and saying, why is this a passion of mine? But I could have said something as simple as a second generation immigrant myself, I'm really interested in the experience of like how immigration impacts folks and your identity development. It's just like enough information for somebody to go, that makes sense. I see why that's an interest of yours. And it's not so personal that like, oh, now they know all my like deep dark secrets, you know? And again, we have a picture of 2016 Marie. What a baby. Oh no. Okay. So at least my About Me page has the clinical experience pushed to the bottom of the page, but I gave some pretty prominent focus to places that I had worked at before. So I actually list out every place I've ever worked as a therapist. I feel like it's only relevant to list out places you've worked if you're in some like very specific line of work. My list of places I worked has nothing to do with my specialties at all. That's just a list of places where I got my training. Grateful for them, but the places that I worked prior don't have any special significance to my specialties. And then I go on even further. Below that, I have a section of academic training and I list out, oh my goodness, yes, I list out my doctorate and my dissertation and my bachelor's degree. I'm looking at this now and to me it just reads like insecure young therapist feels like she needs to really, really show that she's definitely a therapist and definitely has the credentials to help you. And so let's make more than half of my About Me page be about all of my credentials and my history of where I've worked. And that's so not necessary. All right, let's click around a little bit more and see what we find. I do have, yes, Chef's Kiss, the services page with the drop-down menu. There's 5 things, so that's a bit much. I mean, I could have structured it differently, but there they all are. And if you click on the services page of, let's say, anxiety, then it takes you to a very brief summary of that focus. And I have one paragraph where I share a little bit about my interest. Spoiler alert, I've since changed my specialty and anxiety is not something I focus on right now, but this was my primary specialty at that time. Here's a couple things that I think I missed here on this page. I do think the services page is an opportunity, a big opportunity to build trust with potential clients because they're clicking around on your website going, can this person help me? Can this person help me? Let's say I'm dealing with anxiety. I find that there's an anxiety page and I click on it. And that's that moment where you have this opportunity to sort of create an exhale for a potential client to say, oh, good, this person gets the kind of anxiety that I'm dealing with. This person has a way to help me. And so you want to infuse language that both clearly conveys how you offer this supportive transformation for clients and sort of walks them through it. Like, I see what it's like when your life is riddled with anxiety. It looks like this, and you paint it in with some details. And then you say, here's how I can help. If you work with me, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, we're going to do this other thing, generally speaking. And so therefore you can look forward to, a future transformation that looks like this. And if you have kind of subspecialties within the specialty, like I did with anxiety, you can have a dedicated section on this page for each of those things. But I would not have a list of, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have a list of 6 things. And even in that list, I have like slashes and ands. It's probably more like 8 or 9 or something. It's way too long of a list. And even if all of those things things or things that I focus on, you might just want to highlight a few primary places that you focus on. All right, and then maybe we'll just click to the blog. Let's see if that blog is still up. Oh, it is still up. Okay, something Marie did right. I'm so grateful for this because I think this was such a key piece of my learning as far as having an online presence was making a blog. Were the blog posts good? I don't know, but I sure blogged. I sure did. If I had an empty spot in my calendar, I started writing. I didn't know how to use any SEO strategy when it came to blogging. I just wrote blogs. And there were so many times where I had clients come through where they said, oh, I was clicking around and I was looking at a few different therapists. And then I saw that you had this blog post on this. Like, I don't know, here's one. If I don't fit in at church, can I still be a Christian? And I read it and I felt like you were talking about my situation exactly. And I really liked the way that you spoke about it. And that's when I knew that I wanted you to be my therapist. Like, I've heard that story so many times. So it's really invaluable to have a blog, even if you don't know anything about SEO. Whew, well, this was quite the walk down memory lane. That was an experience for me. I haven't looked at that website in many years, maybe since 2018. It's like a little time capsule from this time in my journey. And I'm really proud of it though. At the time, I was just so anxious. I was like, I don't know what the heck I'm doing. Let me just make this thing and hope that it works. And it did work. Maybe if you have no other takeaway from this video, if you are either working on making a website or you're thinking about it and you're too scared, or maybe you're in that phase where you're kind of growing your practice, whether it's related to building your website or not, just in that like, I don't know if this is gonna work phase, like maybe just draw a little bit of encouragement from your future self that's gonna look back at this moment and go, oh, I know that was so hard not knowing if this was gonna work, but like, look, you did it. And just like have a little bit of that with you in the moment to be like, I'm doing the thing. I don't know if it's gonna work, but I'm doing it. I think if I could have had a little more of that, it would have just been a much smoother process. So I'm sending some of those vibes your way. Hopefully you can receive that. And before we close, I'd like to thank TherapyNotes.com for sponsoring this video. TherapyNotes helps with all of your practice management needs, from scheduling to notes to billing. They have a HIPAA-secure telehealth platform and so much more. If you'd like to check out TherapyNotes, you can get 2 months to try it for free with no commitment just by clicking the link in the description of this video. Well, if you're in the situation where you're building a website or you're kind of revisiting your website, or maybe you're planning to make a website at some point in your near future, I hope you found this encouraging. If you do feel overwhelmed by the process of building a website, I do have a course for that. Don't mind me plugging my own course for a second. Well, thank you for joining me on this journey. Let me know if you'd like me to critique my second therapist website, which I then hosted on WordPress. And until next time, from one therapist to another, I wish you well.